Hey, welcome to the UX Story. Today, we're going to dive into a book that, honestly, will change how you look at everything. It's a total classic called The Design of Everyday Things by the cognitive scientist Don Norman. Ready? Let's jump in.
Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked up to a door, a big, obvious door, and you push? Nothing. You push a little harder, maybe give it a shoulder nudge, still nothing. And then you finally spot that tiny little sign that says pull. That moment, right? You just feel a little bit dumb.
And it's not just doors, is it? I mean, think about your TV remote. It's got like 50 buttons that all look the same, and all you want to do is turn up the volume. Or, that microwave that feels like you need a pilot's license just to warm up your coffee.
So, that feeling, that's what we're digging into today. That exact moment of frustration when some everyday object, something that should be simple, just makes you feel, well, stupid.
This is actually so common that it has a name. It's called a Norman door, named right after Don Norman, the author we're talking about. And yeah, it's basically any door where the design just screams push when you're supposed to pull, or the other way around. And this right here, this leads us to the biggest, most powerful idea in his whole book. Honestly, it's a huge relief for anyone who's ever felt defeated by a gadget.
Get ready for this. The problem isn't you. The problem is the design. I'm going to say that one more time because it's so important. It is not your fault. You're not bad with technology. If an object is confusing, that's a failure of the design, not a failure of the person using it. We've been blaming ourselves when we should have been blaming the design all along.
Don Norman just nails it with this quote. He says, what we call human error, yeah, that's not a thing. It's bad design. It means the system was basically built in a way that makes you fail. This idea completely flips the script on how we should think about making mistakes.
Okay, so if bad design makes us feel dumb, what does good design do? Well, good design is kind of like a secret language. It's totally intuitive, and objects just make sense. You don't even have to think about it. So let's break down a couple of the secrets of how it works.
All right, first up is something called a signifier. Sounds technical, but it's super simple. It's just a clue, a visible hint on an object that tells you, hey, here's how you use me.
Oh, this is a fantastic example. Look at these car seat controls. They're literally shaped like a tiny version of the seat. You don't need to read anything. You just know that if you push the back of the little button seat, the actual seat back is going to move. That is just brilliant design, a perfect signifier. Okay, next up is a constraint. Now, I know the word constraint sounds like a bad thing, like it's holding you back, but in design, it's actually your best friend. A good constraint cleverly limits your options, so it's way, way harder to mess up. Check this out. This is an old-school Lego motorcycle kit. It only had 15 pieces. That simplicity was the constraint. I mean, there are only so many ways you can put 15 pieces together, right? You could figure it out just by looking at it. No instructions needed. Now look at the new version. It's got almost 30 pieces. And yeah, it looks more detailed and cool, I guess. But that complexity means you've lost that intuitive magic. You can't just wing it anymore. Now you absolutely need that instruction manual. Why? Because those helpful constraints are gone.
So let's circle back to that whole human error thing. Norman's point is, if we actually want to fix things, we have to stop pointing fingers at people. Instead, we need to become detectives and ask, okay, why did that mistake really happen?
It's just how we're wired, right? When we make a mistake, our first instinct is to blame ourselves. We feel kind of bad. But a good designer sees it totally differently. They see a mistake and think, if a bunch of people are making the same mistake, the problem probably isn't the people. It's got to be the system.
So really, a designer's job isn't just about making stuff look nice. It's about being an investigator. They have to dig and dig and dig until they find the real deep-down reason for a problem, what's often called the root cause.
And there's this really cool, simple method for this called the 5 whys. You literally just keep asking why, like a little kid, until you get to the truth. So for example, a patient gets the wrong medicine. Okay, why? Well, the nurse grabbed the wrong bottle. Why? Because the drug bottles looked exactly the same. Why? The labels were super confusing. Why? Because nobody ever actually tested the label design with real nurses. And boom, there it is. That's your root cause. It wasn't a nurse error, it was a design error.
So once all this clicks, the idea that it's the design's fault, not yours, understanding what signifiers and constraints are, and looking for the real root cause of problems, something amazing happens. It's like you get a new superpower for seeing the world.
So let's just boil it all down.
What's the main takeaway? Good design is intuitive. It works with you, not against you. It makes you feel smart. And bad design? It's just the opposite. It's frustrating, and it makes you feel like you're the one who messed up.
And now you know the secret. And I gotta warn you, you can't unsee it. From now on, you're going to be walking around and you'll start noticing everything. The smart, elegant designs, and of course, all the clumsy, frustrating ones too. So I'll leave you with this one question. Now that you have this new design superpower, what's the first Norman door you're going to notice today? What confusing thing in your own life would you spot? Because trust me, once you start looking, you will see them absolutely everywhere.